Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. There was a great fight on this weekend. Only one? No, more than one. More than one, because I know what you're thinking. Joe, you're talking about Bivol versus Beterbiev. What a magnificent fight. No argument there. But do not overlook what happened in Japan earlier today because you'll regret it. There was a great fight between the WBA bantamweight champion, Takuma Inoue, yes, the younger brother of you-know-who, and his challenger, a guy called Seiya Tsutsumi. I think that's how you pronounce the name, Seiya Tsutsumi. And Tsutsumi came in with 11 wins, 8 KOs and 2 draws, no defeats. Takuma Inoue, 20 wins, 5 KOs, nowhere near the power of Big Brother, 1 defeat on points and no draws. And the defeat was to Nordin Abule. That was back in 2019. And since then, the younger Inoue brother he went over. He recovered. He doesn't do any traveling. It's all in Japan, all his work. But he gradually, incrementally rose up the ladder. And his last 2 fights against Sho Ashida, which was the first defense of his title, he won a unanimous decision there. But to win the title, he stopped Gerwin Ankerhaas, the veteran, in 9 rounds. And he's been looking good. He's been kind of getting better and better ever so gradually. Clearly, he's been brought on very well. He also he holds a very good win over Liborio Solis. That was a unanimous 12-round decision. That was back in 2023. So he prepared himself for that jump to world level, and he achieved, he reached the top of the summit. He won this WBA title. Well, as we know, this is an absolute, it's a golden era for Japanese boxing. And the Japanese fighters they're some of my favourite in the world. Most of them are little guys, obviously. We know this. But they throw so many punches, and there are so many exciting lower weight matchups. If you're a boxing fan, you can't not love these guys. And Takuma Inoue and his challenger, Seiya Tsutsumi, they provided yet another one for the ages. This was a great fight, a really great fight. It took place in the sort of early hour, well, not the early hours, but I'd say the sort of later morning if you're in the UK, which is why I'm sure a lot of you missed it. But it is on YouTube. Go over to Sky Sports YouTube channel, and they'll have it on there. You don't want to miss this one, trust me. And it was won by the challenger, Seiya Tsutsumi, over 12-round unanimous decision. 2 of the judges had it, I think one had it 115, 112. One had it something like 114, 113. Now, I had this, look, maybe I was wrong, but I score a fight as I watch it, okay, and I never rewrite history. I had this 118, 109 to Tsutsumi. That doesnbut tell the full story of the fight, because a lot of those rounds I felt Tsutsumi was just outworking and knocking around Inoue. But Inoue, what a tough kid, Jesus Christ. But no, I don't see this as being a close fight in terms of rounds. I see it being highly competitive. I see all the rounds, most of the rounds, being very competitive with give and take and so on. But it was one of those fights where, despite those little individual fights, if you like, if you take each round as an individual fight, I felt almost all of them were won by the challenger, this rampaging challenger. We talk about smaller weight fighters, the sort of output, the figures, that the punch stats being outrageously high. Even by those standards, Seiya Tsutsumi, he would just not be denied. And even though I think I gave the first round to Inoue, but after that, it was evident what Tsutsumi was going to try and do. He was on a mission here. And Inoue was the guy, they're both orthodox, by the way. Inoue was the guy who wanted that range, who wanted to sort of take place, the fight to take place in the center of the ring, who wanted that space, who wanted to bang the jab out, keep the guy on the end of the jab, ping the right hand over, a few hooks thrown in. Tsutsumi was having none of this. He rampaged forward like a sort of prime Roberto Duran and was pushing Inoue from the second round onwards. into the ropes and then just letting his hands go. I mean, body to head, excellent body work from Tsutsumi. Really good punches to the body, which Inoue, to his credit, took. And Inoue was, almost showing out, saying, come on then, come on. I mean, tough as nuts, tough as old boots, this geezer. Both of them are, but Inoue, to soak up the punishment and not really look out of puff, to be honest with you. He was just saying, come on, come on, come on. But he was being outworked. Even though he was threading some nice little counters through, he was only firing single punches because he just didn't have time to get his punches off. And he has very fast hands, Inoue, very fast hands, even by the standards of, bantamweights. But Tsutsumi, tremendous combination punching, tremendous combination punches. This didn't quite have the level of, technical brilliance that Bivol versus Beterbiev had, obviously many, many, many divisions higher. But it was probably a more sort of fun fight to watch for the casuals, probably, and for the hardcores as well. Don't get me wrong. And I loved the Bivol Beterbiev fight, but this was more. It was more one-sided, and there was a bit more there was something a little bit more ragged and earthy about it. And as the fights ticked by, I mean, certainly up to the 6th, 7th round, I felt that Tsutsumi, he just, God only knows what his engine is. He just didn't look out of puff at all. His conditioning must have been incredible. But he was outworking Inoue. He was not always keeping him on the ropes. There were moments when little pockets where Inoue was able to get off the ropes, but he wasn't able to control the range. He wasn't able to get his jab working, and Tsutsumi was basically all over him. Now, the canvas was quite slippy because they both, I think Inoue skidded over in one of the corners, and at one point Tsutsumi lost his footing. The fight was fought with exemplary discipline. There was no naughtiness. I think there was a punch on the break from Tsutsumi, but that was more a case of his desire to get stuck into Inoue, more than any kind of genuine nastiness or wanting to cheat. These are Japanese guys. They're Japanese fighters are almost always clean fighters. And the fight ticks over, and I'm thinking, when we got to about the 8th, 9th round, I thought, well, actually, the 8th round, but by the 8th round, I was thinking, this is getting to the point where Inoue will need a knockout to win. As it happens, the scorecards were close. I mean, one guy had it 117, 110, which was more in tune with my card. But the other two guys, clearly, I think all three were Japanese judges. The other two had it very, very close, which surprises me. And I'm not casting aspersions. I mean, Japanese judges are nearly always, they have integrity. They have definitely an honesty about them, which is not always prevalent in other parts of the world. But in the 9th round, I thought Inoue, I did think Tsutsumi looked like he was flagging a bit, and Inoue was coming on strong. And I thought, there's a little bit of a twist here, But in the 10th round, that was cancelled out. Why? Because I think it was a left hook from Tsutsumi spun Inoue into the ropes, and the ropes prevented him from going down, and the referee called it a knockdown. And Inoue was really irate. I mean, he was arms spread, looking at his corner. What the hell is this? But I have to say, at the time of watching it, I didn't know the result. At the time of watching it, I thought, okay, I think that's a knockdown. I do think that's a knockdown. That was my immediate reaction. So when you watch the fight, have a look at that in the 10th round. But that was a 10-8 for Tsutsumi. Now we get to the point where Inoue definitely does need a knockout to win, in my mind. Maybe not in the mind of two of the judges. And he goes for it. And they're having I don't really need to say anything more because they were just railing on each other. And again, I think Tsutsumi was having kind of the last word. He was landing more punches. It's not that Inoue was doing anything wrong. He wasn't. It's just that Tsutsumi was so rampaging, so dominant that he kind of forced Inoue to fight his fight. And Inoue did quite well. I mean, in spats, he was doing all right. There were little pockets, little spots where he was doing okay. But no, I definitely thought Tsutsumi deserved the decision wide. Maybe I had it 2-1, 118, 109. I mean, maybe a couple. I mean, don't get me wrong, a few of them were closer rounds, but I definitely think the two that had it like 115, 112, 114, 113. But if it weren't for the knockdown, that person would have had it a draw, that judge. I don't agree with that at all. But the right man got it. There was no robbery. It was a unanimous decision for Tsutsumi, who becomes the WBA, the new WBA bantamweight champ. And Inoue at 28 falls to 20 wins and 2 defeats. He didn't show anything bad. He just got beaten by the better man on the day. He can come back. All 4 of the bantamweight belts, IBF, WBC, WBA, WBO, are all held by Japanese fighters. And you know, the one fighter who had all 4 beforehand was, of course, Nayoa Inoue. So Tsutsumi is yet another excellent Japanese fighter who's come into the fray. Look out for this guy. And if you know a little bit about Japanese boxing, you'll have heard of this guy previously. He's 28 years old, just like Inoue. But he's been much touted. He does have a couple of draws on his record from, I think he had him back to back in something like 2020, 2021, 2020. And again, he's fought. I don't think he's fought abroad. I think he's fought all of his work's been done in Japan. But he's done a couple of 10-round distances. This is his first 12, and he handled it very, very well. Be interesting to see where he goes from here. I wonder if the Japanese guys are going to get together. If Mr. Honda over in Japan, the top promoter, if he's going to put them all together, do a little unification tournament, why not? But yeah, an absolute, golden age, a gilt age set of fighters in Japan, all doing fantastic work, all very, very exciting. Go and have a look at this fight. Like I said, it's on Sky, at Sky's YouTube channel. You will not regret spending, 40 minutes watching this fight. You'll have a great time watching it. So well done to Seiya Tsutsumi. Commiserations to Takuma Inoue. He'll be back. And it will be interesting to see what's next for Mr. Tsutsumi. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time as always. You know what I'm going to say now. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please do. You help us out a great deal. Cost you nothing. Takes a second to hit that button. And also the like button. Give that a little pop and all. Nice one. Thank you. I hope you had a nice weekend. And I'll catch you soon. Bye for now.